So check this out. One of Donald Trump's advisors just posted this incredibly strange video of him on social media making a pretty major announcement. He is granting full and unconditional pardons to reality TV stars Todd and Julie Chrisley. Now, these folks were convicted of very serious tax fraud charges, but they're also supporters of Donald Trump. They're also very MAGA, so naturally, Trump tries to save his own, even if they're committing very serious crimes. He called the children of these reality TV stars who have been lobbying him for a pardon. And just take a look at the video they posted on Twitter, on social media, and we'll talk about it after.
That's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing, but it's a great thing because your parents are going to be free and clean, and I hope we can do it by tomorrow. Is that okay? We'll try getting it done tomorrow. So
wonderful.
Give them, I don't know them, but give them my regards and wish them a good life.
Mr. President.
Yes. How are you?
I just want to say thank you for bringing my parents back.
Yeah, well, they were given a pretty harsh treatment based on what I'm hearing. Pretty harsh treatment.
Yes, sir.
Was your brother fighting also for this release, right?
Hey, I go to the University of Alabama, and I saw you speak, and I said, that's the greatest presidential speech I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, that's good. I was just there. I gave the commencement. What a great group of people. If you were in the audience, you have to be good. What a good school it was, and I love Alabama. You know, I love Alabama. It's that school is really, that was very impressive when I was there. Yeah, I think I did a good job. I got a lot of good comments on that one, so that's good. I love doing that with great young people.
Kicked out of class.
Yeah, he got kicked out of class for defending you. It was pretty interesting.
Gee, I'm surprised because University of Alabama, if we took a vote, I'd get 90% of the vote, right?
Sure would.
Exactly.
Maybe more, actually. But anyway, well, you keep fighting. Congratulate your parents.
Congratulations, Savannah.
And Alice had a lot to do with this. And just congratulate your parents. And I hear they're terrific people. This should not have happened. So, and you
Thank
just
you so
take
much.
care. Boy, they have good children. You're no longer children, but I'll say it anyway. They have good children, don't they?
So I wasn't lying when I said the video was incredibly strange. There was just like this weird moment where he started ranting about how he loves Alabama and that the school would vote for him overwhelmingly and that he gave such a great speech. It was just really, really strange. And of course, as you heard from the phone call, the children of these reality TV stars are also very MAGA themselves. They said, oh, he's the greatest president ever. And let me just make this clear before we move forward. I feel bad for these kids. I don't think that anybody deserves their parents being bad people. So first and foremost, regardless of political affiliation, but I think I know why Donald Trump pardoned these reality TV stars. I don't really think it's much of a secret. It's probably because, again, they are very MAGA. I mean, this is the kind of the name of the game with Donald Trump. If you support him, if you give him a financial donation, he'll save you, he'll pardon you, he'll take care of you. And that appears to be exactly what happened here because Savannah Chrisley, the daughter who was on that phone, has been a huge Trump supporter for quite some time now and has been lobbying Donald Trump to get a pardon for her parents. And even before the election, she had Trump signs on her lawn. You can kind of see them right here. And she had like an abbreviation for Trump. It was all just very strange. But she's a huge supporter of Trump. And there's also like one of the signs was vandalized. She took to Instagram to say that it was terrible that happened and things like that. And also she spoke at the RNC in 2024 on Donald Trump's behalf. She said that her parents were victims of political persecution, and she tried to draw parallels between their case and Donald Trump's case. The only similarity there is that both of those cases were fair, went through due process, and both of the individuals, all of the individuals in these cases, were guilty. There was no political persecution. Her parents weren't being targeted by Biden. What an insane claim that apparently Donald Trump and many of the MAGA base has fallen for, that for some reason Biden was just going out of his way to target these people. And that's the claim she made in her speech at the RNC. And so she's been a fan of Donald Trump for quite some time. And even after the election, her and her brother were seen at Mar-a-Lago dancing and celebrating and mingling with all these wealthy MAGA donors. And I want to be clear here that the charges against these parents, these reality TV stars, were incredibly serious. Here's a press release from the Department of Justice back in 2022. Television personalities sentenced to years in federal prison for fraud and tax evasion. Todd and Julie Chrisley have been sentenced to 12 and 7 years, respectively, in federal prison after a jury convicted them of bank and tax fraud offenses following a nearly 3-week jury trial. Quote, over the course of a decade, the defendants defrauded banks out of tens of millions of dollars while evading payment of their federal income taxes, said the U.S. attorney at the time. Their lengthy sentences reflect the magnitude of their criminal scheme and should serve as a warning to others tempted to exploit our nation's community banking system for unlawful personal gains. The special agent in charge of FBI Atlanta said, as this sentencing proves, when you lie, cheat, and steal, justice is blind to your fame, fortune, and position. The FBI is proud to work with our law enforcement partners at the IRS and the U.S. Attorney's Office to pursue and prosecute individuals that are driven by greed to evade the law. And it's also important to note that this was not just a small sum of money that they were evading. According to U.S. Attorney Buchanan, the charges and other information presented in court, Todd and Julie Chrisley conspired to defraud community banks in the Atlanta area to obtain more than $36 million in personal loans. $36 million. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of fraud to be engaging in. And this took place over a significant period of time. So they absolutely knew what they were doing, and they were sentenced to lengthy prison sentences. And now Donald Trump has bailed them out free of charge. You get to go free just because, what it appears to me, and I think to you at home, because they supported Donald Trump. And so far, he hasn't even actually put out a statement on this on Truth Social. Let's refresh this page really quickly. He's ranting right now. He's like, wow, as I'm filming this, he is going off on this unhinged rant, talking about a variety of things. It appears that he's talking about Kamala Harris, Alaska, presidential election of 2020. My God. I mean, so yeah, he hasn't spoken about these pardons because I guess he wants to keep it somewhat under wraps, aside from the video we saw. But he's certainly ranting about everything else possible. And this comes immediately after, this pardon for these reality TV stars comes immediately after we learned today that Trump has pardoned another individual who's convicted of similar crimes after his mother gave a $1 million donation to Donald Trump. And of course, that mother had also been working on Trump's campaigns and tried to sabotage Biden's campaign in 2020. So I think what you're seeing here is a pretty consistent theme in Trump's administration, which is if you do something for me, if you commit a crime on my behalf, if you support me, then I will give you a get out of jail free card. Doesn't matter the amount of crime that you've committed, doesn't matter the amount of fraud you've engaged in or the taxes that you haven't paid and the community you've hurt because of it. Donald Trump, as long as you support him, will help you out. He'll give you a pardon. It is the most corrupt administration in American history. And we're not even talking about his other corrupt schemes like his cryptocurrency, the jet from Qatar, him trying to build buildings in countries in the Middle East and around the world that he's currently negotiating with. It is so corrupt, it's actually hard to fathom. And stories like this should really alarm every single American. If you support somebody in Trump's America, you get a pardon. And that is unforgivable and unfathomable, if I'm being completely honest. So I just needed to bring this story to your attention because it just happened a moment ago. And I think it's so offensive to the American people to see people who support Trump, who are incredibly wealthy, basically paying their ways out of jail, while other people, Americans across the country who have in some cases been unfairly prosecuted or prosecuted for minor crimes, are going to be sitting in prison for years, decades, or even the rest of their lives. That's Trump's America, everybody. Crimes are celebrated and prison sentences for serious offenses are cut short. So anyway, I will leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Also drop a like on the video and comment. Let me know what you think about the story. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.